Now for more on this, we're being joined by Lester Munson, Senior Fellow, National Security Institute, Principal International Practice at the BGR Group, is joining us live from Washington, D.C. Sir, thank you so much for joining us on World DNA.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Now, sir, Qatar, Egypt, the United States are pressing for this truce to be extended. Hamas, too, has shown its willingness to extend this truce to secure the release of more prisoners. However, Israel at this point appears to be adamant that it will continue with its operations. How do you see things unfolding on that front? Do you think a longer pause in this fight is in the offing?
Well, I do think fighting will resume at a certain point. I don't think it'll be in the very near future. The government in Israel has been pretty much marching in lockstep with Washington on these issues. When President Biden urges Prime Minister Netanyahu to do certain things, we see those things happen. So I strongly suspect if the Biden White House continues to push for an extension here and Hamas is willing to release more of the people it has taken hostage, and the arrangement is for 10 per day. If Hamas is willing to do that, then I think Israel will agree to continue the ceasefire.
Mr. Munson, now the Israeli Prime Minister, of course, while standing on Gazan soil, he had said that nothing can stop us. I wanted to just get your opinion on this. How do you see this kind of a statement or a thought process or this kind of a declaration playing out on the battlefield? As you said, the fight will resume. So how do you see this one playing out?
Well, I think it's important to remember that for those of us who are outside Israel and Gaza, most of us are hoping for a ceasefire, and we would like to see less fighting. In Israel, it is a very different situation, and I think the Netanyahu government, and it's really a coalition government now with some of his opponents, because he's formed this war cabinet with his opposition, is actually under a great deal of pressure from Israeli citizens and Israeli voters to continue the fight in Gaza against Hamas. The Israeli people are outraged over what happened on October 7th, understandably so. So they are demanding more action. So Prime Minister Netanyahu, who knows that he needs the backing of the United States to accomplish anything, is really walking a tightrope here between what the White House wants and what the Israeli people want. So he needs to go to places like Gaza and make statements like this to keep his supporters with him as he tries to negotiate this very, very difficult diplomatic situation with respect to the hostages and then the prisoners in Israel.
Now, sir, another big statement that's come from the Israeli side is how Israeli President mentioned that the United States, Israel, and a coalition of other nations should take charge of Gaza until it's no longer a terror base. Now, how do you interpret this? Also, I believe at this point, we also do need to assess to what extent can Israel justify its operations on ground when we've seen the scale of death and destruction that's already been caused. Of course, the goal here is to weed out Hamas militants. But what's your take on how things will unfold? Are you saying that perhaps fighting will just start from take off from where they left it?
Well, let's realize that these negotiations are incredibly difficult. It's not just Hamas that has captured Israeli citizens. It is also Palestinian Islamic Jihad, and there may be other groups inside Gaza that are holding Israeli hostages. So these negotiations are very difficult. They almost went asunder just a couple of days ago when Hamas felt that not enough aid was coming into Gaza at the right time frame. So these negotiations are very difficult. There is a long way to go before these prisoners are successfully released. Let's remember we've already seen that some of the folks we thought were being held as hostages by Hamas were, in fact, had already been killed. So there's going to be some bad news here somewhere along the way, probably sooner rather than later, with respect to this humanitarian situation with the hostages. So I think we should all just be very realistic. This is a war. Bad things happen in wartime. And I don't think Israel is going to stop until the threat from Hamas is completely eliminated. So I think we've got a long way to go. We should all be very just grounded in how difficult of a situation this actually is.
All right, sir. That's definitely, I mean, it's a difficult situation that goes without saying. That was Mr. Lester Munson joining us from Washington, D.C. Thank you so much for your time, sir.
Thank you.